I enjoyed the video you did on the Anunnaki,
Tour.
like the whole breakdown. Yeah, because I'd read some material prior to that, but after the materials you read yesterday, I was really fascinated. So my question this evening, though, there's just one part where I just wanted like a bit of more information.
Sure.
Regarding Lilith and Ptah.
Yeah.
Where you were reading in the scrolls where it says Lilith and Ptah were the parents of what is now known as Adam.
Mm.
So like I've read different materials regarding these two entities, but I really wanted like to hear more information about just maybe a little bit more information about these, who were these beings and that sort of. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, yeah, that book you should get hold of that Master's Secret, par Anunnaki, and I don't take credit. All I'm doing is reading what the Master Teacher wrote. So all of that information is from the Master Teacher, Partner Babyanun, and the reason I actually read the entire scroll, and I do my best to kind of break it down, was because the spell of religion keeps being remixed, and the Anunnaki and the Pleiadians are responsible for religion, and that is a tool that has been used to, control people and subjugate them to believing and misdirecting their energy and worshiping these beings. And the same Anunnaki, where they basically were responsible for Abraham being the father of the monotheistic religions, which became Christianity, Islam, Judaism, that had our people captive for many years. I mean, mentally, and even till today, a lot of those plagiarized stories are still a problem for people that are not really going way beyond the 6,000 year, timeline of the Adamites. And when we're saying Adam and Eve, pretty much a lot of people came across that term through the Bible and being taught through the same monotheistic religions that Adam and Eve were the first people. But as we've pointed out, through reading the Bible itself, that could not be the case, and that everything didn't start 6,000 years ago. We explain about people and beings that were on the planet, because when you do the maths of Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, Cain killing Abel, and then he's now afraid people are going to kill him, or we say, where did the rest of the planet come from, the people? How did they get their wives? How did they have children? It is clear that the story of Adam and Eve in the Bible is not the beginning of everything. So by way of the Master Teacher, Partner Babyanun, we've been taught that there were many what people consider Adam and Eve, because every cycle there was a restart or a reset, like we're pretty much going to be going through now. And so the problem is people thinking that God created these two people, Adam and Eve. They go as far as saying that Adam was created from the dust of the ground, and then the rib was taken from Adam to create Eve, and so on and so on, which we know is not factual and it's a fallacy. So these Adam and Eve were experiments as well, because these extraterrestrials were in laboratories creating what we call genetic splicing, or creating beings and trying to get a particular outcome. So when we're saying Adam and Eve, we're talking about different experiments, different like we say, like in Genesis, people think Genesis is the beginning, but we're saying no, it's a recreation, a refilling of the earth. So you have different Adam and Eves, what people call Adam and Eves. And the best book, I don't have it with me at the moment, it's called The Beginning by the Master Teacher, Partner Babyanun. If you don't have that, please get hold of that, because in that book called The Beginning, he explains and shows you the different Adam and Eves. So the ones that are spoken about a lot, we refer to as those original beings that came out of the waters and onto land. And in Egypt, we call the Ogdoads, right? You know, where we say Nun and Nunet, He and Hihet, Ket and Kiket, and then Amun and Amunet, who was also known as Nuit. And then after those pairs, the last one, which was 49,000 years ago, where you hear about Nikeba and what you call Zakar, because that means remember, or Cadman. So that's separate, those Adam and Eve's. So those, the last one of 49,000 years ago, these were the children that was another experiment where they had to take, because prior to this experiment, the Pataites, the little people that we speak about all the time that came out onto land first, they were very passive and they were being abused, they were being attacked, they were being destroyed by these wicked beings that had been here already, like from the Hindus, from the Nephilims, etc. So they were trying to breed a new being that would not be so passive. So what they did is they took two parents, right? So when you're saying Atum and Lilith, that's the parents of the being that we know as Zakar. So they were, because of his DNA being from the Watusi tribe and the Hindus, because if you look at the images and the pictures that the master put in the books of Adam, he had wavy hair. Even though he was dark, he had wavy hair. Then they obviously took Anath and Ptah, who were from the Pataites, and you have they're like the Cushites, which is different from Kuthites. They're two, Cushites and Kuthites. The Cushites would be that Ptah and Anath. So they brought these two together because the offspring of those two, meaning Adam and Eve, were going to be a more agreeable or a more balanced by way of the genetics coming from, you know, the two sides, and it's not just the passive side of, you know, the Pataites. So that's what that story is about. And then when it's being translated and written into the Bible, they're not telling you that there were separate Eves, like Titi, and then you had, so the person they're telling you the story about, called Adam, he had a wife before the Eve that they tell you about, you know. And so when it gets to when you hear that the two sons, Cain and Abel, they don't tell you that one of those sons was not from Adam, but it was from the being that we call Nana. You see, this is why he had those disagreeableness in him. And you know, that's how the story goes, where it's confusing when you're just reading the Bible and you're just seeing that it's only one person called Adam and one person called Eve, when there were actually tribes of people. And these tribes had offspring and they had children. So there were other people already on the planet by way of those Hindus, by way of the Nephilims that came and, you know, raped those Pataites to produce people, and the 200 fallen angels that were in the land of Nod. So there were lots of different beings already on the planet before that experiment to bring about those two of the Adam, what people are calling Adam and Eve, from 49,000 years ago. But there's so much information regarding that you know, I would suggest you read that scroll, the beginning, and other scrolls that the master teacher has put out, and of course stay or join in the Telegram group so we can give you more information. All right, I hope that's helped.